responsible for Grenada, Barbados, and Tobago search area. That is about 68,000 square kilometers of seawater that Trinidad has a responsibility. And that office is located at the Coast Guard base in Trinidad. Whenever we have a report of a missing, overdue, and we have the responsibility, it's being reported to us, we have to collate the information, the first-hand information, and send it off to our coordination center. However, we also activate neighboring coordination center, for instance, Martinique, that support us a lot. So we will send information to Trinidad, we send information to Martinique, and we also send it to the regional security system that have that sort of overhead view of our maritime space for support.
When you say Trinidad is responsible, what does that mean?
It means that they have been given the responsibility by the International Maritime Organization, the IMO, which St. Vincent is a signatory to the convention, the Maritime Search and Rescue Convention. So they have been given that responsibility, and their responsibility is for coordinating, providing, and disseminating information as it relates to a missing or overdue vessel. They also coordinate the assets available for that search, and they also provide us with search patterns and search areas. For instance, a lot of people tend to think that search and rescue is that you go out there and a person went missing in this particular area, and that's the area you're going to search. There's a lot of factors that are responsible, which the sea condition, a major factor, and also the atmospheric condition. So those are some of the things that has to be considered. When we send those information to Trinidad, for instance, we get a datum or a estimated area where whether it's a vessel or a person went missing. We send that information to Trinidad. They look at the condition, the sea condition within our space. That's their responsibility. They look at the condition, they look at the atmospheric condition, and provide us with search area. So when we get that information now, we send it to our assets or the assets that is available. We send it to the assets, and they in turn input it inside of the GPS or the smart craft. They put it inside of the information, and it gives them an airway to start to conduct that search. Right?
Okay, very interesting indeed. Thank you so much for that. Now, in terms of time frame, now it sounds like a lot of work, but the work may not take very long. How long does that entire process take from receiving the information? Okay, there is a vessel that is missing or overdue. How long does it take from that point of receiving that information to initiating and going out to sea?
The most critical set of information is time. Time is very critical. So we are not omnipotent, the Coast Guard, so we're not in all places. So we depend on persons to provide us with that information. We don't have the technology that we have St. Vincent covered. So whenever there is a missing person, a missing craft, the information that we receive is the information that we work with. But the information has to be timely. And receiving that information, we activate our protocols. And that protocols require us to either send a vessel on the scene where the estimated vessel or craft or person went missing, send an asset, and it also requires us to send that information to our coordination center, which is Trinidad, and a lot of the times the Maritime Coordination Center in Martinique assists us, and we also send it to RSS. So time is a critical factor. This person only have survival rates in terms of whether they are strong swimmers or whether it's an activity they were on, they drop overboard, they can't swim and stuff like that. So time is always a critical factor. And a lot of Coast Guard is coming for a lot of lakes, but just like anything else, if we do not have the information to work with, then we cannot work. So that information is always critical. And the information doesn't have to be exact, it just to provide us with a datum. determines a place in which we can start.
Mhm.
Once the information is provided, then our protocol, as I said before, is activated.
Okay. So you get the information, protocol activated, and you're out at sea. So who goes out? Do you go out? Do you go out as the seaman, the leading seaman as well? Who goes out?
I don't want to steal the thunder or anything like that, but the Coast Guard have grown over the years.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things that we have done, we have listened to the people of St. Vincent and Grenadines, and we have put in place a number of things in order to facilitate our response. And one of the things that we have put in place, and it has been working exceptionally over the years, is what we call a quick response crew. What normally happens, we have an operation room. All the information comes into the operation room, and it goes to the person, which is called the OOD, the Officer of the Day. It goes to him. He activates our quick response crew. The quick response crew is a team that is always ready to move any event that they get a call. So that information is passed to the quick response crew, and the information does not have to be exact. All the quick response crew will need, because there is communication, all they need is the general area. So the quick response will receive that information, and they will activate the vessel and move to the general location. And at the same time, information will be passed into the captain or the coxswain of that vessel as to any further updates, and they will head to that location. Because when I said that we listen to the people of St. Vincent and Grenadines, before then we didn't have a quick response crew, so we'd have to pull people from the Coast Guard who's general work. And remember, we're not just sitting out of the Coast Guard. Like, at the end of the day, we have the assets to maintain. We have to ensure that the asset is always operational, because when St. Vincent calls, when our national calls and say that there's a situation, we don't want to say, oh, we don't have any vessel available. We have been privileged that we have a team, or have teams that are able to keep the vessel fully operational, so that when the eventuality do happen, we can send the vessel out. So whenever that happens, the quick response crew is activated and it's deployed and to the location. Time, as I mentioned, is one of the most critical factors as it relates to search and rescue.
Okay. So are you able to give us a breakdown of that quick response crew, Seaman, Lieutenant?
Well, the quick response crew is normally headed by a petty officer, right? I still looking at Ellis Martin. Ellis Martin, actually, she's assigned to our large cutter.
Large cutter.
Yes.
What is a large cutter?
It's our large vessel, our flagship.
Okay.
It's the Captain Hugh Mulzac.
Right.
And she is here because of her talent. She's a very skillful navigator and a trained navigator.
Then you're at the helm?
No, she provides the part in which the vessel to go.
Not to show what the navigator does, no? I don't understand. Okay, lovely. So at this point, let's take a quick break, right? A quick stop. The number to call. Okay, a call is coming through. You'll need to put on your. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Christophe.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I am well.
Let me hold on, let me turn down the radio.
Oh, yes, please. Thank you. All right, please
Yeah.
remember. All right. Welcome. back.
Yes, good morning to the panelists there. I'm Assistant Commander, and so you were talking a while ago, and I heard you mention about time and how critical it is. I just want to find out if there's something in the Coast Guard service that calls rapid response, and if so, could you explain it to me how it operates? I will laugh here.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, caller. I'm not too sure about the rapid response in the Coast Guard, but as I mentioned, we have what we refer to as the QRC, Quick Response Crew. And as I said earlier, the crew is always on standby. At no time at all, 24 hours, the crew is always on standby, ready to go. That is the direction in which command would have listened to the citizens of St. Vincent and realized that in order for us to respond in a timely manner, we had to put the necessary things in place. And in so doing, we would have put our heads together and put together on a daily basis the quick response crew didn't have daily briefing as to their responsibility and the expectations.
All right. With that, we're going to stick a pin and come right back right here on Activated Mornings. When we come back, we welcome your comments or questions via WhatsApp at 457-9994, or you can also call us at 457-9997. We'll be back really quickly.
99.9, the heart and soul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We FM is SVG.
Are you tired of being tired? Fighting the battle of the bulge? Take a breath of fresh air and embrace a new lease on life. Oxygen Fitness Center is here, located in the Camden Park Industrial Estate in the Green Building, next door to the government printery. Our range of fitness equipment and programs were carefully selected to meet your needs. Take a leap of faith today. Oxygen Fitness Center has the answers to your fitness needs. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or call us at 457-8333.
In observance of Heroes Day, Republic Bank wants to help you own a piece of the gem of the Antilles with land. Build easy and mortgage loans at the lowest interest rates. Heroes go places, and so can you, with 100% financing on new vehicles at low interest rates. Heroes go for their dreams. You can too with the Make It Happen loan up to $40,000 unsecured. With Republic, you enjoy flexible repayment and the best credit card services on SVG. Heroes never settle when there's a better choice. Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Welcome back, and you're listening to 88.2 FM The Sound. We're talking about service excellence in the tourism industry. Let's take a caller.
Good morning. I'm Jackie from this agent at Holiday Villa Hotel for the past 25 years.
25 years, great. Saki, tell us, what made an excellent front desk agent?
I love my job. As a service provider, I'm always polite to customers. I'm very helpful and I smile a lot. You know, visitors as well as locals feel very welcome when you treat them with respect and concern for their welfare.
Very true. We all need to look at it that way.
Yes, you see, tourism is everyone's business. You've got to live it, love it, embrace it.
Tourism is for me. Tourism is for you. Tourism is everyone's business. Yeah, live it, love it, embrace it.
Are you into the agricultural industry? Do you want the funds to grow your business? Hortz Ready Cash Small Business Loans is launching the $20 million agricultural fund. All you need to apply is your ID, proof of address, and 2 references, and you will receive the funding to get the equipment, tools, products, staffing, and services to grow your business. Plus, you pay nothing down. Get flexible payment terms, fast approval, and convenient hassle-free service. Don't hesitate. Apply today at www.readyfinancecaribbean.com or call 493-3840. Hortz Ready Cash Small Business Loans. Every day, we help businesses succeed.
Let's get your laundry clean and fresh with the widest range of washing machines and dryers in SVG. At Singer, choose between our Point and Speed Queen brands with washing machines with payments starting as low as $92. Or Speed Queen electric or gas operated dryer, saving your energy consumption. Also in stock is our West Point washer dryer combo for only $136 per month. One machine that does the work of 2. No need to change machines, just toss in your laundry and forget about it. Whether your preference in machines is top loading or front loading, whether you want a 9 kilogram or a larger 15 kilogram washer, whether you're looking for a gas or electric dryer, we've got it all at Singer. Visit us today and get the washing machine and dryer that's perfect for you. Singer, your family company.
I was looking for a cough syrup, looking for a drug to help this pain here in my throat. I needed something fast to help me with my cold. Then I turned around and there you go. I went into the store and I found what I needed when I shouted Superhelp.
Superhelp Pharmacy. We're located on Grenville Street, formerly Isles Boutique. Come in and check out our wide variety of over-the-counter prescriptions, medications, personal care products, and much more. Take advantage of our free delivery services, blood pressure, sugar, and cholesterol testing. Open Mondays to Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Fridays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call or WhatsApp us at 497-8737 or 457-8737. Super Health Pharmacy. Your health is our priority.
And I found what I needed when I shopped at Super Health.
99.9, the heart and soul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We FM is SVG.
Welcome back to Cop Chat for today, Thursday. I'm laughing because I almost said welcome back to Captain Humolzak. It's the 9th day of March 2023. In studio this morning, we've got leading seaman Mrs. Sasha Martin and Lieutenant Commander Mr. Ralphie Raggi of the SVG Coast Guard Service. So we started talking about the roles and responsibilities of the SVG Coast Guard Service, and we continue talking about search and rescue. To wrap up on the search and rescue before we head on to Captain Humolzak, how long does it take before you terminate? I don't know if that's the correct term that is used, but you go out for search and rescue. The first instance, you're not successful. What happens after that? And how many attempts are made? Is there something in the books that says how many times you can go out for or how long?
Good morning again. So there is not a time limit. We don't put time limit on search and rescue. The mission can last as long as information is being provided.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we get in information, as long as we know that whoever is missing has a survival chance, the operation continues. We do not call off search and rescue. That is not a language in the Coast Guard book. What normally happens is that in the absence of information being provided, further information as to the whereabouts, we normally suspend after a period of time. It's not a one-day operation, it's not a 2 days operation, it's a continuous operation.
Mm-hmm.
So if for instance, after 7 days of search and the operation is suspended and we receive updated information, that operation is still continues. So it's not a matter of, we call off the operation and stuff like that. I must mention also, there's a situation presently where a gentleman in Bequia, he went fishing with 2 other guys, and for some reason the vessel capsized. Unfortunately, 2 of them managed to make it shore, got rescued, and 1 is still missing. So as it stands right now, we have a live search and rescue operation that is going on. But I often said that the Coast Guard is not being sold as we should, because a lot of people see the base and doesn't know what happened. Yesterday was a very active day for the Coast Guard. Very, very active in the sense that we had to conduct, while we were looking for the missing person, there's a vessel that broke down that was heading to the Southern Grenadines with provision. They went missing, and we had to deploy assets to find them, which they were located. That is about 4, almost 5 miles west of Westkey, within the same search area that we were looking for the missing gentleman. And that wasn't the only thing. We also had to do another rescue, a vessel that broke down that was 4 miles west of Ballin yesterday. A family that was, a husband and wife, I believe, that was coming from We flew St. Lucia and we brought them within our waters. A lot of people don't know about that, but we had to deploy assets in order to find them. And as I said, time is always critical, because if you break down and you do not call the Coast Guard or call somebody or send out a mayday, that the information can reach the Coast Guard with the relevant information, we will not be able to activate our protocols as it relates to search and rescue. All right, so the case that we have, the active case going on, and our vessel should be on location with the search pattern that is provided again by our regional maritime coordination center that is out of Trinidad.
Okay, as you mentioned, a couple coming from St. Lucia and passing through our waters encountered a bit of trouble. Let's now move on to Captain Hugh Mulzac. And you are the leading seaman and also the navigator of that vessel. That's the largest vessel that you have on fleet, right?
Yes, I'm one of the navigators, not the navigator.
Oh.
Captain Hugh Mulzac has have a number of navigators assigned to the vessel. I'm one of them.
Okay, wonderful. Now, what are your responsibilities as navigator, and what are the responsibilities of Captain Hugh Mulzac?
As a navigator and Captain Hugh Mulzac, you're basically responsible for the safe navigation of the vessel from point A to point B. So that would entail anything from chart work, which you have to do piloting and the fixes on the vessel. That could also entail doing a bit of helmsman duty. So it varies, the navigation on Captain Hugh Mulzac.
That's a lot of responsibility. So what does Captain Hugh Mulzac do specifically that's different from a smaller vessel?
The main difference that Captain Hugh Mulzac has over the smaller vessels is that the Captain Hugh Mulzac can travel further distances than the smaller vessels. So normally the smaller vessels would usually stick between our territorial seas and sometimes the contiguous zone, which the territorial seas, if anyone is wondering, is 12 nautical miles from our baseline, and our contiguous zone is 24 nautical miles from our baseline. Captain Hugh Mulzac has the capabilities to go up to our exclusive economic zone, which is, the farthest is 200 nautical miles.
How far is that?
It's very far.
Okay. All right. And
it also has the capability where it can be at sea for a maximum of 2 weeks before it has to replenish stock and fuel. So that is the difference between the Captain Hugh Mulzac and the smaller vessels.
So in comparison to the vessel, the QRC, is it something that's always in a ready position, or it has to be activated? How does that work differently?
So Captain Mulzac is always in a ready position. The only problem is it's a larger vessel, so she would take a much more time to activate than a quick response crew. There's always a crew on Mulzac. So person live on Mulzac. So whenever there is that call, and as Sasha was answering, to give you a sense of the size of the water that we have available to us, St. Vincent and Grenadines is about 150 square miles. We have over 20,000 square miles of water that St. Vincent is responsible for. That 200 miles is our contiguous zone that we are responsible for. So it's a vast area out there, and the Coast Guard has the responsibility of policing it. What Captain Mulzac does for us is that it provides, as the leading seaman was saying, it provides us with that platform to stay out, to go out in, because they have a lot of illegal fishing that is taking place within the waters in the Caribbean, within the Caribbean space. So Captain Mulzac give us that responsibility to reach out in these areas in order to patrol and protect the resources of St. Vincent and Grenadines.
All right, let's take a call at this time. You need to go back. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Crystal. I just want to ask another question. In terms of search and rescue, is there any aerial search and rescue in place where the Coast Guard is concerned? I will listen off it.
All right, thank you.
It's a very good question. A number of factors. You hear me saying that we activate our protocols. One of the reasons that we reach out to our coordination center in Trinidad and Martinique for assistance, and also the RSS, is because of the assets they have available to us. St. Vincent does not have a search and rescue aircraft. However, the coordination center, which is Trinidad and Tobago, they do have a asset for search and rescue. The original security system do have an aircraft for search and rescue. Martinique also have an aircraft for search and rescue. And the incident that I'm speaking about with search and rescue, RSS have since flown yesterday afternoon, right, in search, within the search areas. So, and we have had cases where we have reached out to our the Netherlands, the ABC Islands, and they have provided us with air support in terms of search and rescue. So when I say we activate the protocol, there's a number of things that goes into activating it, right? And you will find that the communication, because we have an active operation room that is manned 24/7, that information is always flowing between the operation room, and there's somebody who is always on duty. There's an OOD, officer of the day, right? And there's also an officer on call. So that information is always flowing in terms of how we operate, right? So while we do not have air support directly in St. Vincent, for instance, a number of aircraft that fly within St. Vincent, for instance, would have support from the Musty Gateway SVG Air if needs be. Right?
Okay.
So we do get support as it relates to that.
All right. Another question coming in on the WhatsApp. By the way, if you want to send a question, it's 457-9994. The quick response crew, and I think this is applicable to any vessel. The officers have specialized training or just the basic search and rescue?
So yes, a very good question again. One of the things that the Coast Guard would say they benefit from is a number of training, and we have to do continuous training as relates to our persons. So there is a number of training, and we have since within the last 2 years, 2-3 years, we have activated a training office in which Leading Seaman Martin is a instructor also, because she do instruct at the regional security system level. So in order to build capacity here in St. Vincent, we have started a number of training that are certified by the regional security system, right? So and the reason why the regional security system certify these training is for us to have a level platform. So for instance, if Ellis Martin or myself go within St. Lucia or Barbados, there is no difference in the training is still the same, right? So we have since activated our training department, and for 2022 we have run a number of training in terms of whether it's rummaging, where you go and search vessel.
Okay.
Right? Because vessel have a number of compartments. You might be looking at it like that. A person who has a certificate in rummaging vessel will look at it differently. They will know exactly what is it they're looking for.
An extra eye.
Yeah. Right? And other trainings such as coxswain courses, this is basically how to drag the boat safely. Right? So in terms of training, the crew on the vessel is always trained. And for instance, depends on the nature of the operation, the quick response crew will know exactly what they need to work with. While things can change in an instant, our operation can change, the quick response crew have that sort of skill set that will be able to take them, conduct their job, and bring them back home safely.
Okay. Is there a standard training for everyone? So everyone has to know a certain thing apart from being able to swim. Does everyone need to know how to dive, or what is the gold standard for everyone across board? Yeah.
Upon joining the Coast Guard, there is a basic training that everyone has to do. So initial stage, everyone has to go through a Coast Guard basic seamanship training. so that everybody starts on the same level with that.
Mhm.
And then as you go on to different departments, then you go into more into specialization. But that's the
Okay.
level playing ground, the basic seamanship training.
Okay.
And that involves everything from search and rescue, that involves towing, everything that Coast Guard basically does in terms of duties and roles, that is covered in the basic training.
Okay.
To add to that,
Mhm.
as I mentioned before, this is not something that St. Vincent comes up with, right? We use a syllabus from the Regional Security System, the RSS,
Mhm.
right? So, as I mentioned before, we can leave and go and work in St. Lucia, the Coast Guard, and able to perform the same duty because the training is of the same standard,
Okay.
right?
Understood. Let's take a call. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. I just, out of curiosity, I just want to ask another question. In a case where a vessel is sunk, the crews might be rescued, but the vessel is sunk beneath the water. Is there any system in the Coast Guard that could locate that vessel and what do you call it again?
Retrieve?
Retrieve it.
Okay.
There is a word there that is salvage, and salvage it. Is there any process in the Coast Guard that deals with that? There is another responsibility for that part. Just that one. Listen, I say.
All right, thank you.
So Coast Guard is not responsible for salvaging. Salvaging is a private something. If you notice, as relates to our role, what we would do is coordinate, or we can coordinate that salvage because it is within our maritime space. It's not our responsibility for salvaging, right? And as the caller mentioned, if a vessel sink within our territorial water and it's within water that is diveable, if we do not have the necessary resources that can enter that vessel, we are part of the regional security system. As I mentioned again, the Maritime Coordination Center was in Trinidad. All that information is provided to them because Trinidad had provided us with persons, with divers before, in order to support missions here in St. Vincent. It's a responsibility. They would coordinate it. Even they have to bring in private entity that have that skill set, right? They would do that. It is their responsibility. They have been trusted with that responsibility, and they shoulder that responsibility. So, Coast Guard is not perfect. We do not have all the skill set, and divers have different level of qualification. And the Coast Guard operate on standard, not because we would have sent a person to do the introduction to diving, which they can go up to 60 feet. We can send them in waters that is 100 and something feet. You have to have that skill set because then we become responsible for someone's child. So we operate under the law as it relates to how we do things. Because at the end of the day, if an inquiry to take place and your certificate doesn't say that you are able to go beyond 60 feet, somebody has to take responsibility for that.
All right. Noted. Another question coming in here. Are there any safety regulations a boat must meet to operate in Vincentian waters?
Yes, they are.
Okay. You want to give us a few or?
The organization that really deals with the safety requirements is Maritime Organization, but I can give some of the things that are required. And it varies for vessels of different sizes. So a smaller vessel might only be required to have the life jackets and the flares and a signaling, a EPOB or something. But a cargo vessel would be required to have different radios that go according to the standards set by SOLAS, and also they would also have to have the required life jackets for the crew because it's a cargo vessel, not a passenger vessel, so just for the crew. And also they would have to have a EPOB, a SAT, or there are different things for different vessels. So if a person is wondering exactly what type of equipment they would need for their vessel, I would advise them to check in with the Maritime Administration so that they can have exactly what they're required to carry.
Okay, lovely. So we have 8 minutes left in studio this morning before we head on to 9 o'clock. So let's wrap up with some of the initiatives that the SVG Coast Guard would take part in. I know you have a summer program.
Yes, we do.
All right, so let's, before we get to that, a call is coming through. Hello, good morning.
Hi, I'm very concerned, or should I say very anxious to know. I know there was a female, and she's well known, who did outstandingly well at that summer program from the organized by the Coast Guard. And she won a scholarship. I think up to now, to my knowledge, she won a U.S. scholarship after she did so well. Today she holds a doctorate. She's a civil, some sort of engineer, and I think she holds pride of place in that Coast Guard. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but I'm just putting that out. And I know other women have come on board, but I don't know if anyone has ever, or if that scholarship is still there for some young female. Well, it was open to both male and female, but that year she outdid the guys who were part of that training exercise. I don't know if you know anything. If you can bring me up to date on, and if she is still remembered by the Coast Guard. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
I would like Sasha to speak about the summer program, but I would deal with the question that is asked. So he's talking about Dr. Jacqueline James. She is one of the first 9 or 10 persons who attended the summer program in St. Vincent and Grenadines. And it was not a competition for her to get a scholarship. But what I believe happened is that it stimulates a career path for her, in that after coming to the summer program and seeing what the maritime environment is offering you, the US from time to time will offer us scholarship at the Coast Guard Academy. And she was successful. What is competitive? It's your grade in order to go to the college, and you have to be within a certain age. In fact, as I speak here right now, there's a young lady who is in the Coast Guard who is preparing to go to St. Lucia to do what is called the statistical aptitude test. And she has to score at a certain grade in order to get into this prestigious Coast Guard Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So we are facilitating her. She works at the Coast Guard, and we facilitate her to get to St. Lucia to do the SAT exam, so that she can be competitive in order to get a place at the college, the Coast Guard College. A number of other person would have gone to the college also. We have Sub-Lieutenant Beach, who is a proud graduate of the Coast Guard Academy. I don't know if any other female, but hopefully if this young lady is successful, she will be another one going to that college. I cannot leave here, and I cannot pass it over to Ellis Martin unless I mention that this year the Coast Guard will be celebrating 30 years of running that summer program. It's one of the longest summer program here in St. Vincent, and this year we will be celebrating 30 years. The only break we had in that is COVID.
COVID, yeah.
Right? But that program is a very competitive program in order to get into, but it provides you with an alternative career path. And I will pass it over to Sasha to elaborate more on it.
Yes, let's know how I can get into it.
So yes, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Coast Guard Summer Program, it normally runs in the summer from July, the week after Carnival actually. We start our summer program and it ends in August. It it is for teenagers between the ages 14 to 18. So you have to be 14 to be able to attend the summer program, and you cannot be older than 18. So 14 and 18. The summer program is, well, for me, I think it's an exceptional program. I was a past student of the summer program myself.
Oh, look at that.
It teaches you a lot of things. Young persons, when they come to the summer program, they normally always want to come back. They keep on asking every year if they could come back every year. But once you do the summer program, you're not allowed to come back. So you do it one time and that is it. But the experience is so good that persons always want to come back. We do a lot of Coast Guard related activities where they learn how to do chart work, they learn how to do the knots and splices that we do at the Coast Guard. Many different things that we do at the Coast Guard, they cover that, and also we cover other things as well. You know, they're teenagers, so we teach them a little about drugs and a little bit about themselves. And a little bit about how to be a good citizen. So the program and etiquette. We also do a little session in that as well. So it's a very fun program. It is a program that a lot of persons really want to come to. Unfortunately, we only cater for around 150 persons each year. So it's in high demand, and a lot of persons are upset a lot of times that they don't actually get to come and take part in the summer program because it's very good.
Yes. I heard about the summer program when I was too old.
Yes.
Yeah. So there were no plans for, the older folks. A little something for the older persons who never had the opportunity. Asking for a friend.
The only thing
No.
we have for the older persons are if you're working at an institution and you want Coast Guard to come and give you a little safety tips about boat safety and sea safety, we have that for you guys. Or if you're a teacher and you want the Coast Guard to come to your school and talk to your students about career paths and also same boat safety and sea safety, that's what we have for the older folks.
Oh, okay. It's still good information and still a good initiative. Now, we have to wrap up in about a minute or two. So, final thoughts, final words of encouragement, perhaps for those people who are at sea. You have to go out at sea on a daily basis, or just the regular users on the beach. Some words of advice.
Thank you. Before I wrap up, I just want to add another one of our programs that we have. A lot of people sort of short-sighted, but we hold it dear to us. Annually, we normally give back to the community, and for 20-something years, we have been giving back to the community in that we reach out to the business community, receive food hampers, and we reach out to the less fortunate people we ask our coordinator for that program to identify a village through the health centers. And we, for Christmas time, for December time, we normally reach out through the health centers and hand out up to 80 food baskets to different persons or less privileged person. But in wrapping up, I cannot come on this program here because we can talk a number of things as relates to the sea, but I cannot come on this program here unless I speak to the fishermen in St. Vincent and Grenadines. We have been partnering with fisheries at times, maritime at times, and even NTRC at times with our fishermen. And I want to sort of encourage them when they're going out there to think safety. Yes, it's your daily bread, but if you cannot come back home safely to your families, then you're unable to provide for your family. And a lot of fishermen tend to go out there without walking with the safety devices or recommendation for them in the event that anything happened to them. And the Coast Guard has been pushing that bar and trying to get them to retool themselves in doing. For instance, Leading Seaman Sasha, she's an instructor as assisting NTRC in terms of radio communication. And NTRC have been pushing it. NTRC has also reduced the price of radios so that fishermen can use radio, because they would prefer to use a cell phone, but there's only certain coverage you can get.
Right.
Where these fishermen, more than 80% of the fishermen goes beyond that coverage as relates to cell phone.
Only that the battery might die.
Not only that, the radio is a bit different in that you can, if you have a distress and you're going to radio, it's possible that somebody will hear you. and even transmit that communication to the Coast Guard. So it's what we have been trying to push it by in terms of getting them to act safety and be safety so that they can go and come home safe back to their families.
All right.
Thank you.
Ellis Sasha? Was it Ellis Martin?
Ellis Martin.
Ellis Martin?
My encouragement for persons, well, I will go with the sea bathers, since Lieutenant Commander Raggy already covered the fishermen. So persons, when you're at sea, it's one of the things that we normally tell persons when we actually go out and speak to them about beach safety. It is always important to check the weather before you go to the beach. A lot of us don't do that in St. Vincent. We don't really care what the weather is
We look
on the
up.
day, that we're going to the beach.
If it's
But
not really, we're going.
Yes. So one of the things that we encourage persons to do is to check the weather before you go to the beach. Also, we tell them if you're gonna do any diving, feet first. Feet first time. You should always go feet first. A lot of persons go and they do diving and they do the headers, and a majority of the times we don't know the state of the sea bottom, and we're diving and it's probably somewhere that is rocky, especially if it's somewhere that you haven't been for a while. The bottom of the sea can change. So we always tell persons feet first when you're diving. So those are two things that I would like to tell sea bathers when they go to the beach to take into consideration.
All right, lovely. Thank you so much for joining us for this morning's edition of today's edition, of Cop Chat, and all the very best. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, take care. And that brings us to the end of Cop Chat for this week. Join us again next week, same time, same place.